G3CB Business Spotlight, brought to you by the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong.
I'm Rosemary Goder, co-founder of Systematic Edge, and I'm also one of the executive committee officers at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong. And today, I'm the host for this episode of the Greater China Canadian Community, or G3CB, Business Spotlight, brought to you by the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong. And today, I'm here speaking to Lucie Marceau, General Manager at Camden, which is a Canadian company and a full-service communications agency. And today, Lucie's going to give us her tips on how brands can reinvent their digital marketing strategies to capture more business opportunities. Lucie, welcome to CanCham Hong Kong. I understand you're a new member, and it's wonderful to have you as part of the CanCham community. Now, can you tell us a little about yourself and what Camden does?
Thank you, Rosemary. It's a real pleasure to be part of this podcast today and to be part of the CanCham too, which is a network I have discovered recently when joining Camden, as it's a Canadian agency, and I felt very welcome from the start as part of this network. So thank you again. I'm Lucie Marceau, General Manager of Camden in Hong Kong. I have always worked in the creative industry and more specifically agency side, from Paris, where I first started working, to London and Hong Kong since 2017. Last August, I joined Camden, and in Hong Kong, it's actually the second agency I am managing. Camden is a full-service agency with over 30 years' experience, and we have offices in Canada, with Montreal, where our headquarters is located, also Toronto, which is our media hub, as well as in Lyon, France, which is our creative hub for Europe, I would say. And now Hong Kong, which is the latest addition to our list of offices. When we say full service, what we mean is that we can help clients and brands to address their challenges on a very broad spectrum of channels and problematics and approaches. We can help with branding, strategy, creative concepts, social media, video production, to name a few. The Hong Kong office was created last year, and the aim is really to position it as a content production office, focusing on helping brands to communicate online through the production of branded material, whether it is for social media, for websites, online platform, for brands to connect with their consumers. Our approach as an agency is really to have a global vision and a global understanding always. But at the same time, we also provide local insights via the knowledge of our local teams, whether they are in France, in Canada, or here in Asia. Globally, we work with brands like Clarins, Essilor, Olympique Lyonnais Football Club. And in Hong Kong, we already work with clients like Natixis Investment Managers, which is an asset management company, and also the fintech Contineo. But also we do work with the sport giant Decathlon.
Now, thank you for your detailed explanation. And I understand Camden's aim is to provide creative solutions using pivotal thinking. Can you explain what this approach means?
Yes, of course, I can definitely explain this approach. So at Camden, our work and our philosophy are driven by this approach that we call pivotal thinking, or that we call pensée rebelle in French. This is our commitment to awareness, understanding, and helping clients communicate better by always challenging the status quo and always digging deeper. We do it via asking questions to ensure really effective solutions. Basically, we don't want to go for what is easy and what is obvious, but instead, we want to go for what is right for the brands and what is right to answer our clients' challenges. By always keeping this in mind, we train ourselves to not go for the easy way, but for the right way. So, to give you an example, sometimes we can have a client coming with a specific brief and objective, but after some time and by spending time with them and discussing, we realize that this brief they are asking may not be the right one. So we tweak it or we change it, and we show them that maybe this is something else they need.
Thanks for sharing with us how you use pivotal thinking. Now, I understand from our previous conversation that earlier this year you delivered a LinkedIn campaign for your client, Natexis Investment Managers. Now, can you tell us about how you help them with their digital strategy so that we can hear a concrete example?
Yes, sure. So, first of all, to introduce you to this brand, Natixis Investment Managers is part of the Natixis Group, and it specializes in global asset management. What is interesting about them is that they have been a pioneer in ESG investments for decades. And ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. They came to us because they created a 30 pages report on that topic in 2020. But they were wondering how to communicate about it on socials, knowing that, on social networks, you want to be engaging, catchy, and a 30 pages PDF doesn't really address that. So, what we proposed to them is a 1.5 month campaign where we would tease their audience on LinkedIn about this report via engaging and bite sized content like carousels, videos, images, all of this on LinkedIn to encourage their audience to read the report. The approach was to tap into the human side of investment. And in order to do that, we wanted to use a language that will be closer to human values. So we used different mantras. On most of the assets, we use them. The messages were things like action is everything, or it's always the right time. And basically, these different mantras, they helped us to deliver a campaign that's closely linked to their brand values. And, this combined with creative and engaging formats, this is what made the campaign.
That was really insightful to hear how you worked with Natexis. So it sounds like we would all benefit if you could share some advice to our listeners on how brands can reinvent their digital marketing strategies to capture more business opportunities.
Yes, so this is an interesting question actually, because there are different things we can talk about here. Of course, the current context is reshaping people's behavior or sometimes revealing them, and therefore the brand strategies as well. So, the first thing I would mention is time. Time in terms of opportunity. Why? Because, well, one of the most precious things we have is time, and now more than ever. And I think people are always trying to save more of their personal time. So I think if brands manage through their communication to make people's time valuable and make the most of their time, basically to respect their time, then I think it will go a long way. So this can be done via humorous messages if it fits with your brand, or messages that will make them feel something, have emotions, or also something that will be very informative and leave them with information they didn't know before. I think that brands will really go a long way if they do that, instead of assuming that, their story and their products will instantly get people attention, because that's not the case. I think it's through storytelling and content that you can do that. And storytelling and content are important now more than ever. And brands should absolutely consider to integrate it in their digital strategies if that's not done already. Another thing that I think is interesting is consistency. So it's actually something I would recommend to any brand and during any context. But our current context at the moment is very inconsistent, right? So, we still don't know when exactly we'll be able to maybe travel again, or when things will ease. So if brands can follow some sort of consistency, at least that's one thing consumers can rely on. So you want to make sure that your approach and your strategy are consistent and used the same way in every single of your touch points. You can do this through a omni-channel strategy. Another key thing to me with the consistency is, if you want people to recognize you as a brand when they see you, then really be consistent in everything you are doing. And these are, like time and consistency. I think these are opportunities. They can be seen as a challenge, but I really see them as opportunities for brands through their content.
Thank you so much for those insights. I was writing down your tips as you were speaking, and the 3 things I wrote down was the importance of time, storytelling, and consistency. I'm sure many of our listeners benefited from your insights, and hopefully this helps them capture even more business opportunities going forward. And it was great to get to know you and your company better. And if anyone would like to contact you, they can do so through the Chamber, through your website, or directly on LinkedIn. These podcasts are made to spotlight and support our amazing Canadian connected business community, operating from Canada to Greater China. And so thank you to everyone who has joined us today.